And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Hello and welcome in, folks. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Brandon is out today. You got your backup quarterback in the chair today. James DeJerome is your host today. I'm the executive producer here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're still committed to giving you the same program we have in the past. We want to give you that knowledge that empowers you as a consumer. We've assembled a great group of guests here. And like any good backup quarterback, I always lean on my teammates. Today on the audio board, we got Jose back there keeping us sounding good on our AM.
Jose.
Every day for you listeners at 5 p.m. on AM 1380. And, of course, you viewers on WeBeam TV and on the web are seeing Rob's work. Rob's our tech from WeBeam in here. Keeps our show looking sharp on the web all the time. And like always, we've got a group of partners in here that are going to be the ones providing the knowledge, the ones that actually give you guys the knowledge that makes you more informed, make better decisions as consumers, and use the show to your benefit. I mean, that's what the show's here for. In addition to empowering you economically or financially in terms of your business decisions, we want to tell you something positive and keep the idea that there's a lot of good out there. And Brandon wants to emphasize that with our Feel Good segment, so we're going to do that like we always do. And before we get started there, I want to mention one of our sponsors, the Bilmar Beach Resort. Brandon's a big fan. I've been out there. Clyde, the general manager, a big guest on the show. He's going to be on the show next week. He's telling me about it. He's had so much going on out there at the beach. It's incredible the amount of people that come through Clearwater and St. Pete area in one season. You know, he's just the spring season. He's been so busy out there. He's going to join us and give us some events, some upcoming events, but they've always got things going on. Bilmar Beach Resort. Ask for Clyde and tell him you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show, and that's where you heard about him. He'll set you right up, man. You want to get out there and enjoy the weekend. Any good weather. The weather now is so beautiful outside, huh, Kevin?
Yeah, for sure. Always is. Florida, baby.
It is, and especially before that humidity really hits hard. Yeah, you can't get enough outside right now.
Yeah. That summer little bit of humidity we deal with, that's the price we paid for those mild winters, man.
You're right. And then I complain, but my tolerance for winter is so gone. There's no way I'm going back.
Yep. Scraping windshields, shoveling snow, not for this guy or that guy.
No, sir. All right, so Kevin Fiske is in here, Mutual of Omaha. Kevin and Brandon always get together and give you that information that you're looking for about all the different loan products and the things that are available to you out there. I was a naive renter for many, many years. I was afraid to buy, or I didn't have the incentive to buy. I didn't know exactly what didn't know at the time. And then I come around Brandon and I hear Kevin and he discussing this all the time, and I feel like there must be other people out there like me who are just waiting to pull the trigger, but it seems like a giant hurdle. They're worried about down payment money, but they're also worried about the commitment to a purchase. Do they know what they're getting into in terms of the home itself? There's a lot of factors. Do you ever have to talk them into this? I know it seems like a no-brainer for you guys.
Well, it's not so much talk them into it, but just even your experience. I mean, sounds like you were the typical first-time home buyer where you have no idea what the process is, so it's daunting.
Right.
First of all, before you even reach out, it's, do I qualify? What about credit? What about down payment? You know, the home. How does the whole process work? And then even as you're educated and informed by both the realtor and the lender, it's still, what's next?
Right.
Until you get that key in, right, James?
Absolutely.
Until you had the key in your hand at closing, it's kind of, you're on pins and needles. So
the need to develop trust, to feel like you're getting square information, that you don't have to double check with somebody else immediately, and the idea that everybody out there is trying to take max the deal out on you. You know, that's your fear as an uneducated consumer. What, anyone could take advantage of me. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right, and that's the importance of finding the right team. So Platinum MVP, Mutual of Omaha. I mean, both of us have been doing this for a long, long time, and we would not have the reputation we do if we're doing just what you suggested. So it's all about education, inform, and advise. We'll educate you about the products. We'll inform you about the latest news and any changes, and then we'll give you our professional opinion with options of, and I'm sure, you know, however yours unfolded, it was kind of the same thing, or I hope it was.
It was, but I tell you, I look at it back now, and I think all the questions I would ask now that I didn't ask at that time, and the ability to have the relationship that you guys form. You know, personally, because I got to know Kevin through the show, I know he was a veteran and he served our country, and I get to know more details about someone, and it gives you that sense of you're making the right decision. You get to know the person. Initially, for me, again, uneducated, didn't know, had people coming at me with different figures. I didn't know exactly who to trust. And the other thing I found is the stress of the deal falling apart. You feel like, hey, if we don't get this done any minute now,
lose it.
There
you
it
lose
goes.
everything. Yeah.
So I had that. My wife at the time, boy, it was a lot of stress, a real big headache about we got to have this, and are we in position to make this deal? And so the idea of finding a trusted advisor was critical.
It is, for sure. And that's kind of the double-edged sword. So who do you go with? You hear things from friends, family, neighbors, coworker, social media alone. It'll be a list of, use this guy, use that. I mean, how do you tell who's the right guy, who's the wrong guy? And I don't want to say there are loads of folks out there that'll kind of steer you the wrong direction, but there are, without a doubt, lenders out there that will send you and say things. They'll send you documentation that are, when I look at it, I know right away, wait, this can't be possible.
We've discussed a lot on this program with Kevin and others the importance of the local. Find somebody who knows what they're talking about in this market. Find someone who's familiar with making deals in the Bay Area. There's a lot of people that are represented locally by an anonymous person on the ground here, but it's somebody from out of state, far away. That money's not really in our community.
Well, I mean, Mutual of Omaha, obviously we are nationwide, but I'm here right. In Pinellas County, so Pinellas, all basically 5 counties. I'm licensed in 48 states, so, but there is something to be said about people still like to go into a brick and mortar place and sit down and talk, just like we're doing, across the table from each other, so that they get that feel good. Like, I can look in the eyes, James, and I know you're not BSing me.
I didn't even consider the fact that some people are buying homes online. They're really doing that whole procedure online.
There's like, obviously we've all heard of Zillow, but now there's Zillow Real Estate Company, there's Zillow Mortgage Company. I mean, just everyone seems to be putting their fingers into, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And who knows, maybe that might be something, the wave of the future, where you just click. But I don't know, if I'm buying a home, I'm walking through it, I'm talking to the guy or gal that's showing me the home, that's doing my mortgage. I mean, I want to be involved.
100%, I'm with you. The idea that this is the largest single investment, certainly was for me.
For sure.
It kept me up at night. So there's not something I'm going to click a mouse and feel like, hey, deal's done.
And that's you say kept you up at night, and that's another big difference. What I'll do is, and my wife probably doesn't like this part, but 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, every single client and realtor will have my phone number. And I even tell the client at the get-go, it's like, look, if you're like me, after dinner, sitting on the sofa, you're going to start talking to your spouse and go, wait a minute, we didn't ask Kevin that. Well, guess what? You give me a call.
Yeah, see, that's what you need.
And I've been out at Disney before, waiting in a line, and like I've had to send a pre-approval letter, so I've told the family, wait, I'll find you in about 30 minutes, and I take the darn tram back out to the car, fire up the laptop, just to make the client in a better position.
Well, you've heard it here, folks. That's what you need when you're looking for somebody to help you get through this process, give you some knowledge and hold your hand if you need it, like me. Kevin's your guy, Mutual of Omaha, right here. And it's not just a question that he's done it before and he has the knowledge specific to your deal. He's got the ability to look at a bunch of different structures, right? I mean, I hear you guys talk about all these different products that you offer.
Yeah, it's basically, you look at all the pieces of someone's particular puzzle, because however you're buying is going to be different than him, different than the guys in the booth, different than me, because we all have different pay structures, credit, assets. I mean, all those things factor in. And so it's basically solving the riddle. So you're going conventional, you're going FHA, do you need down payment assistance? You're going VA, you're going USDA.
I told you there's a lot of details, folks.
Is it non-qualifying mortgage, which opens up, are you self-employed? Are we going bank statements? A foreign national? I mean, the list is long, and those are just the titles. So beneath each category, there are all these, well, wait, so what's their credit score? What's this? And it breaks it down into, okay, that puts them here or puts them there. But if there's a way to make it happen, if it makes sense, we'll make it happen. You've heard me say it. We do free credit repair.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's just all about, my goal is the same as your goal, same as anyone that wants to buy, anyone that thinks they want to buy. And certainly folks that, well, I don't think I can buy. I challenge you to call the show.
That's the thing I want to say is everyone out there who's just in this situation and feels like there's not an opportunity, you'd never know until you get in touch with somebody and see what's really possible.
Right.
You know, everyone talks about renting as throwing your money away. Sometimes you think you're in a position where that's all you can do. And it's not definitive until you get a credit check with everybody. See what you can qualify for, see what's out there. There's possibilities that you may be unaware of. I know Kevin and Brandon sit here and talk about different nuances in different loans and whether a vet can qualify or he's aware of what he qualifies for. There are probably programs out there that you might qualify for because of your particular position you're maybe completely unaware of. If you don't find somebody who knows about them, you're never going to be able to take advantage of that stuff.
Absolutely. Every person listening in the audience right now, if they're willing to work with us, and the only reason I say work with us, that's if there's some credit challenges. If the credit's at least a 620, every person listening, I have a program where 100% financing.
Wow.
Because that's the biggest challenge currently right now facing someone purchasing their first home is, first of all, most people believe they have to have 20% down.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, most programs are 5%, 3.5%, 3%, but that can still be a chunk of money. If you're buying a $200,000 home,
Sure.
that's $6,000, $7,000. I mean, not many folks nowadays can just write a check all at once. Well, great. I've got 100% financing. I have 5 of those programs.
Wow.
So
it's a question of knowing who you can trust, getting the information. That's why we want you guys to trust the show. We're here, we're talking to Kevin. We're trying to get you guys to see what's out there for you. As a host here, look, I don't have the knowledge in the real estate market like these folks do, but I know I can trust someone. I found someone I can trust, and that's the whole purpose of the show. We're going to go through that process for you and help you steer you to someone who's not interested in just making money on you.
for sure.
That's the
Absolutely.
idea. So when we come back, we're going to talk specifically about some programs and the future and how the market looks. Kevin's done some research for us and has got some information for you. Again, stay with us. Become a more empowered consumer. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Brandon is out today. I'm the backup quarterback, James DeJerome, executive show producer, sitting in today. We've got Kevin Fiske from Mutual of Omaha. We've been talking about getting you into your first home and some of the hurdles that I faced as a first-time buyer. Coming up, we got to tell you a story about a mom who saves her son, and this is a heroic story. So you guys want to stay tuned for this one. Never get between a mom and her child is what I'm going to tell you on this one.
Mama bear.
Yeah, watch out. Also, the Lucky Dill, as you heard there in the break, Brent, we've got an event coming up on Eventbrite. You can check it out at the it's the Nickel right there associated with the Lucky Dill. Lucky Dill is our restaurant partner over here for the show. Unbelievable sandwiches. I love going in there at pastrami. You ever have a sandwich in that place?
Big and good.
Real good. You got to check it out. Lucky Dill. Always mention the Consumer Quarterback Show, and Lucky Dill. It's the home of the Consumer Quarterback Show. I can't wait to get in there. I'm going to go there right after the show today, in fact. So back in studio with Kevin, and Kevin was helping me understand the hurdles and some of the fears that I had and why they weren't necessarily valid. But then we talked about where we are today in terms of the market, what the outlook is, and what you think's coming down the road. What should we do if you're a homeowner that's on the fence? Now's the time.
Absolutely. Every projection out there is saying that this market is going to just continue to grow and grow over the next several years. Not, hey, we got another month, ride it out for a short period. This is a long-term thing.
Okay.
A while back, the Federal Reserve had met, and good news, they said, hey, throughout the year 2019, we're not going to increase rates. They're projecting even into 2020, there'll only be one time. Mm-hmm. So they met just the other day, just yesterday, in fact, and they came to the same consensus that economy's strong, inflation's down. There's no reason to have to bump rates. What does that mean to the audience? Anybody that's looking to buy a home, first home, investment home, anything, vacation home, investor sort of thing, the market is just so strong. And every day that anyone waits, because the market is so strong, we're going to see home values will continue to do this, which is good if you own it because you're building equity. But if you don't own it yet and you're waiting for, I want for the rates to drop. I mean, don't hold your breath, because we'll have to call you Blue Boy, because you'll be blue in the face before they drop a significant amount to make an impact. But as you wait, again, that amount that it'll cost you is just going to keep going up and up. So everything is so good with in fact, I would say it's never been as strong as it is now. So mortgage delinquencies, they're at the lowest point that they've been in 20 years. That's even since, the 2008 bust. They're projecting this year that the volume of home loans will reach, what is the number? $1.2 trillion. That is a ton of loans out there across America. But on the flip side of that, Americans have more home equity available to them for refinancing or just it's wealth, because like you said earlier, it is the largest single purchase the average American will ever make. So right now they have more home equity than they've ever had in history.
So you're hearing right here the value. I'm going to make sure my terms are correct. We talk about home values, and that's a change in the actual value, the real value of the home when you go to purchase.
Yep.
The projection by the Fed is we're strong, so there's no need to because they felt like an increase in rates. It doesn't inspire. I'm just help me out again. I'm naive in this. They want to inspire confidence in buyers.
They do. What the Fed is really charged with is if the economy keeps running strong, generally what happens is inflation starts to increase. Mm-hmm. Well, the government cannot allow inflation to get out of control, because then our dollar, our purchase power, is worth next to nothing.
I see.
And then certainly against overseas. So to combat that, it's basically inflation. So if inflation gets too high, they can raise rates, which cools the economy off and drops the inflation.
Okay.
So the economy's pumping along great. For some reason, inflation's not shooting through the roof like it normally would do. And so that's why they're, okay, let's just sit on the rates. And the rates aren't just our rates. The rates would be any type of bank-to-bank loan, credit card loans, car loans, all that. So when we sit in here and we talk about rates going up,
Right.
that means on your Visa card, on your
Across the board.
Chase credit card that you bought from Honda or what have you. So the economy's great. Now is the time, because again, every day that you wait, just like you said, the purchase price for your next home. So if we're going to wait a year, why are you going to wait a year? Well, we want to save up a little more down payment. So you're going to spend a year while that $100,000 or $200,000 home all of a sudden is $235,000.
Right.
So what good is it that you've saved up? Yahoo! We've saved up $8,000. Well, let's just put you in a 100% financing program. Pull the trigger right now, and then you're building the wealth. And on top of that, I'm sure you understand that as a first-time home buyer, the tax advantages that you have now.
I'm homestead in there. Absolutely.
But even when you file your income taxes, the interest that you've paid?
Sure.
Because when you're renting, how much interest could you? Nothing. Because there is no such thing.
Right.
So a lot of first-time home buyers aren't even aware of that advantage. So it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Stop making the landlord rich.
No question about it. There's the intimidating parts of this. You don't have the money saved up. You just heard him say it may or may not be a factor. The down payment's too large, or we can't get into the property we want, so we're going to save to get to that point. You've got to investigate the deal itself as it stands now to know what the deal really is. Until you actually qualify, until you see the numbers come back, you don't really know what's out there.
Absolutely. Call the show. Call me, 727-648-3096, or call the show. Reach out. It's just a kind of a little Q&A. What is it you're trying to do? This is what we can do. Let's take a look. We look at the piece of the puzzle, and we put together a plan to get you from where you are now to whatever it is you want to do. First-time home buyer, first-time investor, you want to upgrade, downgrade, right size, you name it. We can do it.
And that's what we're doing here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're trying to assemble folks that can give you information that's going to make you more empowered and make better consumer decisions out there. Kevin Fiske, Mutual of Omaha, certainly a friend of the program, someone who can do that for you. And don't be intimidated by this idea that this is a giant purchase and this is something that could be on your books for 30 years. This is a positive step in building wealth. And that's the main thing you need to think about is this is an investment in the future. It's not just a living place. It's your economic future.
For sure. Absolutely.
So when we talk to lenders and they have specific programs tailored for homeowners, what's the difference, Kevin, when you talk about the Bay Area, our specific area here around the show? What's different from other places in the country in terms of real estate, or what you've noticed? What trends or what's different about the Bay Area?
Well, from a lender standpoint, I mean, you talk to any lender from coast to coast, they're all going to say, I've got conventional, I've got FHA, I've got USD. I mean, basically there's several what we call qualifying mortgages that are Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. It's basically government endorsed, government backed, or government insured.
Okay.
So when you go into market versus market, the thing that we have to focus on is what are the values doing with the market? Now, across the country, they're still increasing unless you're, sorry to say it, unless you're in downtown Detroit, then,
I got you.
I mean, we know that's a mess.
Okay.
But the values. So
Right.
Is it being priced properly? Because any of those programs, we've got to make sure that the value's there. But then, again, I can do every market out there except for West Virginia and New York. Sorry, folks.
No West Virginia realtors out there?
Yeah, there are, but I can't help them right now. Working on it, but just not today.
Yeah, we got enough. We got our hands full down here in the Bay Area. West Virginia real estate, I imagine a little less desired than the Bay Area right now.
James said that, not me. I love West Virginia's. No, that's Virginia that says it's for lovers. I'm sorry.
Everyone already knows about me in West Virginia. I go way back with them at University of South Florida, where I was a coach for a long time. That was our Big East rival, one of our biggest wins, and we went head to head with those guys all the time. So.
That's why it was so easy for you to badmouth them, huh? I know, I'm playing.
I don't think I'm traveling there anytime soon.
All right, not without a guard.
Listen, what else is going on, Kevin? I know you're a sports fan too. Tell me what's been going on. You watch hockey?
I was born and raised in Massachusetts,
Okay.
so I mean
That's a yes.
But I'm down here with the Lightning. The Lightning's always cool to watch. In fact, for my money, out of all the major sports that we can go see here, I mean the Lightning Arena, to go in there and watch a game, I'd rather do that than watch the Bucks and sweat like a madman any
talk about
day.
a business model. That guy, he's got it going over there. He's got a great product. He's got a great building, and then he's got this big real estate deal coming down the line.
Oh, yeah.
So I know Brandon.
Sucks to be him, huh?
Brandon's always interested in what's going on down there. I said, boy, why don't you tell us,
Yeah.
That's a real estate deal for you. What about, people that want to do investment real estate? We talk about that on the show a lot. Is there some factors that you look for in a deal that's going to be a fix and flip versus a residential buy?
Great question, James. I mean, there's a variety of investor programs, but it really depends on what the investor's trying to do, because everyone has different goals.
Right.
So you might have someone like yourself. Hey, I own a home. You've now understood the process, and you're excited because you're building wealth. So your mind might start to wander like, well, heck, if I buy a home myself, another home and put renters in it or do
it's wandered.
Airbnb.
Right.
So we have programs for that. So there are some simple programs where we don't even look at your income. As long as you've owned your primary home for a year,
Okay.
we can do 5 other homes where just as long as you have the down payment and the good credit score, you're set.
You heard it right here, folks. Kevin Fiske, Mutual of Omaha. Don't be intimidated. Give him a call. Find out what is available to you. The Consumer Quarterback Show is doing its best to get you in touch with these folks. You got to take that step. Reach out, get in touch with Kevin, find out what's available, and let's see if we can get you out of renting into owning, give you that first big step towards acquiring some wealth. Consumer Quarterback Show, we'll be right back. ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show. Weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. I'm the backup quarterback, James DeJerome. Brandon is out today. As always, the Consumer Quarterback Show strives to provide you with the knowledge that is going to empower you as a consumer, making you a little smarter out there when it's time to make those business decisions. We've assembled a great group of partners with the program that are helping us provide that information to you. Joining me in studio today is Mr. Thomas King from Florida Firearms Academy. How are we doing today, Thomas?
Great today. It's great to be here with you, James. I'm sorry. And I actually
hold on a second. In addition to Thomas, now Thomas always comes in and tells us a bunch of stuff. Now, you think of Florida Firearms Academy, you think about a place to go get gun or learn about guns or buy a gun. Man, it's so much more than that. It's everything to do with security. It's everything to do with how you feel safe in your home, how to predict the crazy, unexplainable events that occur every day. We try to take a moment to think ahead and try to put yourself in a position of power when that was to happen.
Absolutely. So we're way more than just a shooting range. We're an academy with 40 different types of firearm training classes that anyone is open to the public can take. We're more than just an armory. We custom build, we fix, we repair, we clean them. We have classes on these as well. And we're also a firearms academy, the store that shoots, and we have a lot of events for people in our community.
Now, Thomas says classes. So you think, well, here they're going to show you how to use a gun. That's so far away from what's going on. They've got these active shooter scenarios they're going to put you through. They've got all these different events and things. Explain some of that, Thomas.
So some of them are concealed, the basics. You get a basic pistol training. You get concealed weapon permit, so you can carry a firearm legally in Florida. But also we have home defense. We have scenarios where situations will sit you in, like this last week we did, you're laying in bed on the range. We teach you how to do this. It's for $20. We show you. It covers the class, the range, the targets, everything, the instructor. You get up, you grab your gun from your nightstand, you run through rooms, shoot bad guys, bowling pins, till targets, balloons. We time you on it. We score you on it. If it's your first time, we make sure you go slow or right there to correct you with it. We want to make sure that you have fun because it is an Olympic sport, shooting. So we want to make sure that we do it as a sport as fun as shooting too. But today out in studio, I brought Brian here with me. I just want to introduce him for a second. He's with Kilo Delta Tactical. He's also not just a friend, he's a sponsor, and him and his son own the business. And welcome to the studio, Brian.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Now, Brian, Kilo Delta Tactical Designs, it's a Tampa company right here.
Yes, it is.
How long have you been doing that?
Steve has been in business for about 4 years now.
Okay.
He started off up in Pasco County, and then we moved down into Hillsborough County, and we're in Lutz.
And you found a partnership with Thomas.
Yes.
We do sponsorships together. You know what? Because I saw them one day. They do some amazing Cerakoting. You can see his website there. They do these beautiful jobs on guns. And also now they're doing all our laser engraving, too.
So some folks want to customize. Some folks want to just add to the beauty of the weapon. I'm sure I'm not seeing all the value that you guys provide. There's a bunch of weapons that looks, I can imagine I could never tell them apart. If you put two on, which one's mine, which one's, tell me some of the things that you've seen added to guns in terms of design or additions.
Well, there's a lot of things you can do with them. You can put themes on there. The distressed American flag is a very big theme.
Okay.
A lot of military veterans want to commemorate their time in the service when they served, and so we do stuff for the Marine Corps, the Army, the Air Force, Navy, and you can just about put anything on.
Put your business logo on them.
Yeah.
Zombie guns are really big right now.
Zombie
Right?
guns.
Boba Fett themed guns from Star Wars.
You got to think of it this way. If you buy a car, if you're a sports car guy, you want to put the rims on. You want to put the different upgrades in the motor and the muffler and everything. That's the same thing with firearms. People want to make it their own and make it their own custom firearm. So it's not like you buy a Glock. Yeah, there's a billion of them out there, and they all look the same. If you go to these gentlemen over here, they can make it look like the coolest color, the coolest design. You could put Mickey Mouse on, whatever you wanted to really do on it. That's copyright infringement, but something that you want to make it your own personalized firearm.
Wow, what a cool concept. That hadn't dawned on me. Have you ever had a situation where someone came in and the gun was incredibly valuable, and you were stressed, like, well, I can't believe we're going to actually do this to this beautiful, you know what I mean? People want to put the picture of their child or something very personal on a very classic, antique style weapon. Has that ever occurred?
As a matter of fact, it has. People have brought in antique guns. Since I used to collect Civil War swords and Civil War firearms, we refuse to do work on a weapon that is an antique like that, because the second we touch it, we devalue it.
Yeah.
So we don't do work on anything like that. We do work on Now, there are some older guns that a lot of pitting, a lot of rusting and everything. When I say older guns, I'm talking guns 30, 40 years ago. Those are not antiques. We'll be glad to do those. We'll be glad to refinish those and bring them back to use again. But if you're bringing in a firearm that is from the late 1800s or even the early 1900s, we will not do it because we're just going to hurt the value of the gun, and it is better to keep it the way it is.
Yeah,
Keeps its value.
I can imagine. Thomas, you guys have some really cool stuff over there. You ever see someone that you're like, you don't do that?
Well, to each their own. If you're customizing your firearm, it is for you and for you alone.
Yeah,
You're not
that's true.
doing it for you can post it online and people go, oh, that's horrible. And then you'll have the other half saying, oh, that's the coolest thing ever. That's a great design.
Absolutely.
So it is for you and your own entertainment to make it your own personal gun. I've personalized a lot of my firearms because you know what? For me, it's a fun hobby. And I bet a lot of people. You just recently had a Olympic rifle in there that was actually pretty amazing and
Yes, we did. Young man is on the junior Olympic team, and he brought in the chassis for his 22 long rifle. He was firing rimfire, and he gave it to us, and he wanted it done in a distressed American flag, and it was a Walther chassis. So he didn't actually bring the firearm portion in; he just brought the chassis in, and we took care of that. We set it up for him, and I understand from his father he ended up winning an event recently up in I believe West Virginia or maybe Virginia.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So that's a
Really well.
competition weapon that he modified.
And it looked beautiful too. I mean, the color. They just recently did my Chris Vector in this beautiful color, and you know what? It's mine. I don't care if anyone else like it because as long as I'm happy with it, then that's all that really matters.
What's the process? That seems like you're not just putting paint. I mean, how are you getting this to? I don't understand how it's bonding to the weapon.
Well, like everything else, it's all preparation. All right, it's not actual spraying. The actual spraying part literally takes my son Steve anywhere from 15 minutes to 45 minutes, depending upon how many pieces he's spraying, how big the weapon is, and everything. The part that takes the longest is the prep. We have to completely disassemble the weapon, and that means every little detent, every little spring, pin, everything's got to come out of it. And you start the prep process. You put it in a ultrasonic cleaner, and you start to degrease it. Then you put it in a bath of acetone to help increase the degreasing process. You then take it out and you sandblast it because you have to rough it up. Cerakote needs something to adhere to.
Right.
So we sandblast it. We then take the weapon and put it into the oven. And the purpose for putting it into the oven prior to Cerakoting is on all weapons, especially shotguns, AKs, rifles, things like that. They put these weapons together, but with hydraulic presses in a lot of cases. And they use oil to keep from warping the metal. There's oil hidden inside of those seams. And when you put it in the oven, you heat it up to 250 degrees and the oil starts coming out. The problem with that is if we Cerakote over that, put the item into the oven to be cured, because Cerakote must be cured at 250 degrees for 2 hours. That oil is going to come out under the Cerakote between the steel and the Cerakote, and the Cerakote will just pop right off. There's nothing holding on to it. So you have to, the biggest problem we have is we have to degrease these weapons, and we've had weapons that have gone in and out of the oven 30 and 40 times.
Yeah, I could imagine. It's
because they just keep bleeding oil. They keep bleeding oil, and as long as there's oil there,
you're giving away all your secrets now.
All right.
Well, every good Cerakoter knows these things. Right. If they don't do it, then our guarantee is that if the Cerakote pops off like that, in other words, there was a contaminant that got between the Cerakote and the metal, all right, we do it for free. We do it again for free because it means we didn't do our job right the first time.
Well, that's what we do here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We bring you people who can provide you with information and knowledge to make you a little bit more empowered as a consumer out there. So Kilo Delta Tactical Designs can do things with your weapon that you didn't even know you could do. There you go. For those watching on the website, take a look at that at the site, and you can see some of the beautiful work.
They also do scopes, too. So most scopes are black. So that if they wanted to match their firearm or have it engraved on there, or like they recently engraved one of our magazines to match our logo on our firearms. And they also did our ARs and put it on there as well, too. So it has our logo on there. And you guys you sell a lot at the gun shows, too, right? Your own designs and other designs out there. So
there's a business application as well.
Yes, sir.
So don't be afraid to put your corporate logo or whatever it might be.
Absolutely. Your own personalized, I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I didn't even know this kind of thing existed. What else Thomas, you've seen. Does it apply to any kind of knife or any kind of other weaponry? Have you done
Oh, sure.
anything?
We have some customers that are they're custom makers of knives, and they want to put their own logo on the knife. So, sure, we frost that. We can put that on the knife so that anybody who sees the knife in the future, they'll know that this custom maker did it, and they can contact him, have him make another knife, and we'll just put that logo on the knife.
Basically goes on everything, right? You can do it on
Everything.
Yeti cups. You can make it a different color, put your logo. You can laser engrave it. I mean, there's so many things that their store can do that they can provide that we cannot.
I love the personalizing it. You know, just in case it was ever taken, it's so unique at that point. From that point on, you can be able to identify your weapon.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's really cool.
And especially if you get competition shooters that go to competitions, whether anywhere in the country, they're running and gunning, they're dropping their magazines, and they're moving on. And sometimes you get shooters that will come one right after another, and there'll be a number of magazines down on the ground. What's the best way to identify your mag? Is to put your name on it. If you're a police officer, exactly, put your logo on it, so that when you walk up, you don't have to paint your mags a different color. You have your name written on it.
Very cool. I tell you, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about it with Thomas. One of the things that I think that we need to mention, and it maybe goes without saying, but at home, if you have a fear of guns or you don't like the idea of handling a weapon, this is what the classes are for. We want to develop some comfort and have you understand using, get some knowledge and get some comfort with it so that you can make a better decision and you're not so intimidated by what you don't know.
Overcome your fear.
That's the idea. Join us, stay with us. We'll be right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show. Weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
Welcome back to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Brandon's out today. Your backup quarterback, James DeJerome, is in the chair. We've got Thomas King from Florida Firearms Academy with us. Also, Brian Dorian, Kilo Tactical Design. And we were talking before the break about a few things going on, and Thomas has an announcement to make about Florida Firearms Academy.
Well, we're really excited about this, and we've been working on this for a little while, but we're officially announcing that we are proud to be 2019 Raise Local Business Partner. And you're going to see our name, Florida Firearms Academy, in the stadium. Also, what we're going to announce today is we're going to bring out a lot of our members, Florida Firearms Academy members. When you sign up as a member, you get to try 70 different firearms, full auto. You get to discounts on firearms, ammo, in our classes at the academy, plus cleaning and all that. But our members, we take really good care, and we have special parties for them, events for them. So we're going to bring like 100 to 200 of our members free of charge to the Rays game. We're going to announce the date and everything. Hopefully you'll all wear a Florida Firearms Academy shirt. We're going to be up in a section over there.
There you go.
So we're just going to have a big party with all the FFA team and the members, and we're just going to have a great time watching a great game for local. We just do a lot of supporting for our local community, and not only that, for our local businesses like Brian and Steve and their business, and we really help out a lot of businesses. So a lot of our members know that, so they're going to expect, hey, where's my free ticket? So we're going to make sure we get them that too as well.
Now, you guys always do a great job. You got always people coming in and doing crazy stuff and learning different things about what folks really want to do and what how they become comfortable with the weapon and using the weapon and learning from you and all that. Tim, give me some stories about folks that come in and maybe they're intimidated at first, or they pick up some great knowledge when they're in there.
Well, this last week, we have stories every day of why people want to buy a firearm and they need a firearm, and we ask why. Well, this one gentleman came in and said he was traveling in Florida cross country. He was down a road, and he had a blowout on his tire on his RV. So him and his wife and his kids came out, and they're looking at it and like, we can fix this.
Right.
So this car pulls up behind him, he said, and these 5 guys that did not look like they were friendly guys come over to him, and he says, hey, you need help? And he said, no, we got it all taken care of. And he told his wife and kid to go back in the RV, and they said, oh, no, we're going to help you. He says, no, please, we're good. Thank you very much. And they split up. One started looking inside the windows. One went around to the front. He's like, oh, this is not going down good. And he told them to please leave. They wouldn't leave. And then luckily another car pulled right up and said, hey, do you need help? He says, I think I may. I don't know. And the guy said, gentlemen, they're okay. We'll go ahead and take care of it from here. And they said, no, we're going to help him. No, you go on your way. He pulled out a badge. He says, no, we were all the help he needs here. And they didn't say another word. They got in their car and they took off. He says at that point, he was terrified for his kid's life, his wife's life, and his life. They were out in the middle of nowhere. And he says, I didn't have a firearm. I didn't have a concealed weapon permit. I don't have training. That's the kind of thing that we want to make sure that we take care of, that you're going to be able to be there to protect yourself. You're going to get firearm knowledge training. We have a free senior citizens class, or basically senior citizens, it's 50 and above. We're going to get free ammo, free firearm, free training from a range instructor. You're going to have go up free range, free eyes and ear protection, free target. We're going to teach you how to shoot correctly, safely, how to hold, low, aim, and shoot a firearm. We want to do this free. So there's a lot of people that are at home that are senior citizens, and they cannot protect themselves. They're by themselves and they don't have a firearm. It is now the time to do it, and you're going to do it for free. So if you come in with $1 in your pocket, you're going to leave with $1 in your pocket. We want to just take this knowledge and education and pass it on to you at the expense of me.
Thomas King, the Florida Firearms Academy, looking out for you, giving you opportunities to learn and improve your knowledge in this area. It's something you got to learn about. It's just going to make you feel more secure, and you're not going to be so intimidated by the concept of a weapon.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's the main thing. We had people crying that have never shot a firearm, but they said it was on their bucket list. And at the end of the session and our patience and our training and our knowledge, they said, can I buy another box of ammo? Because that was so much fun. They don't really realize they only get what the media feeds them on how horrible and brainwashing that a firearm is not evil. If you think that firearms should be banned, then you should think that cars should be banned. You should think that doctors should be banned. Prescription drugs, fast food, alcohol, all those kill way more people than any firearm has ever killed. So if that's the way you believe and you're really feeding into this, then you know what, then stay away from firearms. If it may not be for you, but if it is, and if it's something you're intriguing, you'll find out that it is a fun sport to do and to have. And it's not only that. I bet you have a good collection of firearms. I have a collection of firearms. My father's had a collection of firearms. Not one of those firearms has ever harmed one person.
That's right.
You know, that's the thing. And I always talk about most of the people that are scared or frightened, that fear would subside if they had some information and took some time to learn a little bit about it.
That's exactly right. It's just saying, going back to a car, if the first time you drove a car, I bet you were scared. I bet you're nervous. You could wreck. You could hurt someone or yourself. It's the same thing with a firearm. Once you get the muscle memory, the education, the knowledge of it, you can shoot a firearm at the bullseye every single time, and that's what we want to train people to do.
That's Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy. He's brought Brian Dorian from Kilo Tactical Designs, who does some customization of weapons as well. And they're here to kind of provide some information for you about what's out there and possibilities for you. We talk about security a lot in the show, and Thomas talks about having that knowledge to keep yourself secure. We had the story he just told us about the guy with his family out there. I got a story for you, and Brandon likes to do these feel-good stories, and I think this is one of the best things about the show. But we ran into a story about a mom who was able to save her child from a cougar, if you can believe this story. Never get between a mother and their child is the moral to this story here. Kevin Bromley is crediting his wife Chelsea for saving the life of their son after the boy was attacked by a cougar in their backyard. Kevin said his 7-year-old son Zach was playing in the family's backyard, Lake Cowichan, BC. So up in Canada, it's a little more wild out there in the backyard. The cougar clawed its way through a metal fence. The kid tried to run away. The cougar pounced on him. Believe it or not, the mother heard the commotion from inside the house, saw the cougar trying to drag the son away. She sprinted outside, charged the animal, and started fighting it to make it release the kid's arm.
Wow.
She's so selfless, the husband says. She had to get it out, to get the mouth off of Zach. She literally did, and I'm not glorifying it. I'm just saying this is what happened. She had to pry its mouth open to get the thing to let him go. The cougar finally let go and ran off. Zach is recovering now with just gashes to his head and neck, and everything's been stitched up. He's fine. Can you imagine seeing your kid getting grabbed by a wild animal being dragged away?
Wow.
And that's when Mom said, "That's no." She's not going to have
mess
that.
with the mom and her cubs. So
that's it. Mom said, "You're going to have to go somewhere else for lunch today."
that kind of goes hand in hand. What we do, we want to make sure that if you're a single mom, you're going to be able to protect your family. If you have 5 bad guys coming into your house, prying open their mouth isn't going to get them
exactly
away.
Right. So. And the idea that you've got to rise to the level of what's coming at you. You never can tell what's out there. You know what I mean? Whether it's a cougar or someone you didn't anticipate, you can't always see that what's going to come. You have to be prepared to respond at that time.
In every situation, just like hurricanes or fire, I mean, you need to have a plan for your safety, for your family safety in your life. So have a plan. Some
of the things I've learned from Thomas over the years as he's been a partner on the show is some of the things facing folks if they are confronted by a situation like this. You'd think, boy, I'll just grab my gun and protect myself. Man, you never know what the situation is. That's why they do these classes where it's dark. Can you find the weapon in the dark?
Right.
Can you load the weapon in the dark? All the different things that you don't think of that are real life scenarios that are going to play out.
And you know what? There's so many scenarios that do play out where are you legally allowed to shoot this person? Are you going to be held accountable for it? Well, yes, when you shoot anyone, you are, even if you're trying to stop a felon, you're committing a felon because you are protecting your family's life. Until you're proven innocent, you're still going to go to trial, or the police will, go ahead and say you're all good.
So it's still a question of learning what's legal, what the best response is,
what you should
how to control your environment, what control factors you can put in your environment. I just think it's really a unique thing that Thomas is doing over there in terms of educating folks. It's not a place to shoot a gun. It's a place to learn everything about self-defense.
Absolutely. And you know what? When I go over to Kilo Delta Tactical, Steve and Brian, they're former law enforcement, and his son is in the fire department
currently.
So you can get a lot of knowledge just from them and their stories. So there's a lot of things you can hook up on when you go to get your firearm engraved, or even any other kind. You guys do tags and everything, right?
Yes, we do. We're actually looking at doing business cards.
Business cards, metal business cards.
Yes, I just ordered some.
I definitely want those
aluminum business cards, and we're going to start.
I love
doing
it.
Something with that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You know what? One more thing. When he showed me this laser engraving thing, at first I was like, "Wow!" But you had to go to Texas, right?
Yes.
To take a class on it, $5,000 class just to learn how to this.
So there was a particular instrument that does this.
Mm-hmm. The class was software.
Okay.
Once you learn how to manipulate the software to get exactly what you want, then it translates over to the laser, and it's just a matter of turning it on, and the laser puts it down. But the whole problem is you have to learn how to use the software to do that.
I got you.
And that's what the class was about.
Brian Dorian, Kilo Tactical Designs. What's the best way to get in touch with you, Brian?
The best way to get in touch with us is by on our business line, which is 813-816-1570.
And Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy. Thomas, real quick, what's the events coming up now?
Well, we have a gala coming up this weekend. It's a donation thing that we're going out to. I'm representing Florida Firearms Academy again, and we're going to donate out to the muscular dystrophy gala that they're having this weekend. We try to do a lot of events. Like yesterday, we had mayor with the three breakfast with the three mayors. We took our whole entire team out there, and it was just a lot of fun. Back to the community, you know.
Florida Firearms Academy, always looking out for you, trying to provide that information, that knowledge that makes you more informed. Thanks so much, guys. It's been a great show. Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy, Brian Dorian, Kilo Tactical Design. It's the Consumer Quarterback Show. Thanks so much for joining us. Check us out on the website, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show. Weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.